Part 57. Start, Invincible, met the Empress's apprentice. Author, Ben Pao de la Chang. Chapter 561. This Luo Tian is actually, such a monster. Damn it, even Luo Yuan and the others can't compare, right? The most important thing is that this Luo Tian is not the genius of all heavens and realms, but what, the final realm. We still think too highly of ourselves. It's terrible, it's terrible. They silently infiltrated into all the worlds. What is their purpose? Okay, everyone, let's not discuss these for now. Even if you know about it, what will happen? These conspiracies are just tricks. We cannot participate in them. Just leave it to the adults with peace of mind. Let Miss Sui rest for a while. Then, keep going to the top. Xuanhuan Minjiao said thoughtfully. That's right, if the sky falls, there will be tall people holding it up, so let's not worry about it. Immediately, countless Lindi and others surrounded Shui with water, and at the same time stared at the other geniuses on the steps of the gods. They also knew that at this moment, Shui might have become a thorn in the eyes of some people. Therefore, you must protect the safety of your snowsuit. At the same time, the rest of the geniuses on the steps of the god chief also focused their attention on Shui. They didn't understand why Shui's tricks could affect the entire small world. If this was the case, Shui could probably destroy him if he used it once. 99% of the genius. Why would such a heaven-defying monster appear? He is just the eternal God King. If he is a quasi-emperor. At this point, some geniuses no longer dare to imagine, because a word appeared in their minds, slay the emperor. Shui is really too evil. Xuanhuan said with a wry smile. Yes, even though I am the apprentice of that master, Empress Nanyi was never so terrifying before. I feel like I was born in the wrong era. Being in the same era as Shui is so lucky, but also so sad. Mu Xianjun said with a decadent expression. It's simply an anomaly. Looking at ancient times and modern times, there are very few people like Shui who are like phoenix feathers and lin claws. Forget it, we can't get the great emperor's crown anyway, let's try our best to strive for those top 6 physiques, or those imperial thrones. The demon fairy said with a wry smile. Not necessarily. Sister Sui said that she will not compete for the crown of the great emperor. Mu 11 said suddenly. Haha, even if Miss Sui doesn't bother to compete for the great emperor's crown, what about those others? Do we have confidence? The demon immortal looked at Luo Yuan and the others. Suddenly, all the geniuses in the eternal upper world were speechless. Yes, even if they left Shui aside, they had no hope of defeating Xuanhuan, Luo Yuan, these geniuses. Okay, let's take it one step at a time. Since we have come to the road to all realms, we must not have any regrets. At this moment, Luo Yuan and others' eyes were constantly trembling. The scene just now was still swirling in their minds. The despair of the end that came at dusk and eternal night, and the hope at dawn, formed a huge contrast. Why does this kind of trick similar to that of an old enemy appear on a person? Are you sure you can deal with this move? Luo Yuan looked at the two people and asked slowly. If you are at the level of a quasi-emperor, of course you can block it, but it won't be so easy. And if we, the eternal God King, haha, I don't really want to admit it, but we will die, 100%, without the slightest chance. There is an extremely complicated look in Shenji's eyes. In his opinion, geniuses like them are almost the ceiling of geniuses in all the worlds. Even creatures like Qing Emperor and Chongtong Emperor are not as good as them. But it's only slightly inferior. As a result, a Shui was born out of nowhere, crushing their dignity to pieces, so much so that at this moment they all doubted whether this Shui was the illegitimate daughter of the will of all heavens and worlds. After all, they had never seen such a monster genius before, breaking all perceptions and even breaking away from their scope? Damn it, when did such a monstrous genius appear in all the worlds? Damn it! Xiong couldn't help but burst out his inner resentment at this moment, and said angrily. You said that this Sui is a creature from the fairyland. Could it be a creature from the restricted area of the ruins? Shen Yi then whispered. Relic restricted area. You mean, the destroyed restricted area? There was a look of horror in Xiong's eyes. Obviously, this restricted ruins area was very terrifying. That's right, it's the ruins restricted area that almost controlled all the worlds. After all, according to the records, only that place is possible for such a creature to appear. Or, a 9-day restricted area. Jushin, it's impossible. Don't forget, Jushin has been sealed by the Empress for countless epochs, and she hasn't returned yet. As for the restricted area of ruins that you mentioned, it should be impossible. In the original war, with the help of the monitors, the entire restricted area of ruins was wiped out. There was no one left alive, and this Sui didn't have that unique aura. Besides, if this Sui is really the real person, he will be discovered by those creatures again, and it is impossible to survive to this day. Luo Yuan thought about it and rejected this conjecture. That's really strange. I don't believe that such creatures can be born in the immortal realm. Although there are creatures like the Qing Emperor and the Chongtong Emperor on the surface, they were not born in the immortal realm. It's just because of the great a paradise for talented people to join. Saint Bai said in confusion. Wait, that adult you just mentioned. Lu Yuan said suddenly. Yes, that's the Emperor in White. Saint murmured quietly. In the immortal realm, the white-robed Emperor, Shui Yi, Nan Yi, and those unknowns. Boom. In an instant, a terrifying idea slowly emerged in Luo Yuan's mind. Impossible, probably not. Luo Yuan looked pale and stared at Shui Yi with dull eyes as he said. Luo Yuan, what did you think of? Say it quickly. Siaki Kazuo asked in great surprise when he saw Luo Yuan's devastated look. Just, a guess of mine. Tell me, is this Shui Yi, the master's disciple? Luo Yuan expressed his thoughts in a trembling voice. After saying this, Siaki Kazuo's face suddenly turned from rosy to pale, and his heart was broken, as if his soul fell into the abyss. Then, he looked at Luo Yuan with a horrified expression. Even though he had thousands of words, he was stuck in his throat at this moment. Start, Invincible, met the Empress's apprentice. Author, Ben Pao de la Chang. Chapter 562. It's just my guess, you don't have to do that. There is no evidence to prove it now. Luo Yuan said slowly. After a long time, Shen Yi and Xiong came back to their senses. As the geniuses of the hidden race, they naturally knew more about the horror of Li Bai than the others. If Shui Yi is really Li Bai's apprentice, it will cause extremely terrible consequences. After all, Li Bai did a lot of terrible things for Nan Yi. Luo Yuan, do you know how terrible your words are just now? I was almost scared to death, Xiong said with lingering fear. Yes, if he is really the apprentice of that adult, I am afraid that all of our geniuses are stepping stones or whetstones. Refer to the Queen of Nanyi to know why she could become the only emperor in that dark age and did many things behind the back of the white-clothed emperor. Shen Yi said slowly. I'm just guessing. After all, excluding the two of you, only this statement can best explain the mystery of Shui Yi. Then we hold on and keep going. Anyway, the great emperor's crown will never be let go. Okay, I'll listen to you, Luo Yuan. Why listen to me? You two are not my little brothers. Luo Yuan rolled his eyes and said. Hey, others don't know, how can we not know? Neither of us can beat you. Although it's embarrassing, I have to admit it, Shen Yi said seriously. I don't care about you, whatever. Gradually, 2 days have passed, and the long steps to the gods have ended at this moment. However, unlike what the Tianjiao expected, the first person to reach the top this time was not Xuanhuan, not Haihuang Emperor, nor Luo Yuan and others, but the immortal realm. However, after learning that the other party also had a quasi-emperor, the Tianjiao did not seem so surprised. Of course, dozens of Chaos God Kings also died in this long step of ascending to the gods. Some of them even died before they could give up. This situation is inevitable. Damn it, brother Xuanhuan, we are just a little bit away. Long Yao waved her hands angrily and said. No problem, this is also within my expectations. After all, the fairyland is indeed the strongest. It is understandable that it can win the championship. You have also felt the trick of the girl Shui Yi, so you should know how terrifying she is. Xuanhuan said with a smile. Brother Xuanhuan, do you think the gap between people is really so big? That Shui Yi is not even older than me, but she is so far ahead of me. Even if she is the apprentice of that adult, it shouldn't be like this. I am not very weak. It's really unfair. I am very worried now. What if brother Xuanhuan can't beat Shui Yi? Long Yao said frustrated and worriedly. Hearing this, Emperor Su touched Long Yao's head. Since Long Yao had been following him during her lifetime, and Emperor Su also protected her very well, when the seal was added, Long Yao was still too young and innocent, so Emperor Su patiently said. Yao, you must remember that there is no fairness in the world. This is a world where strength is respected. No loser has the right to speak. Only the winner can write history, no matter how dirty the means of the winner are. And, some people, perhaps from the moment they are born, are the existence that we need to look up to and try our best to overcome. As long as you try your best, even if the final outcome is death, so what? Oh, okay, brother Xuanhuan, I know, I'm just complaining, I'm not a child anymore. Hee, in my heart, you will always be the little follower behind me. Emperor Su tapped Long Yao's little nose. Humph, brother Xuanhuan is so annoying. Congratulations to the Tianjiao of the immortal realm for becoming the first team to reach the top of the long steps of ascension to God. Now bless them. Accompanied by the sound of knowing the magnificent vicissitudes of life. In an instant, auspicious clouds suddenly appeared, and wisps of light continued to fall on each Tianjiao of the immortal realm. Then, the scars on their bodies slowly disappeared, and at the same time, wisps of power entered their bodies from the light, constantly repairing their hidden injuries in their bodies, and constantly improving their realm, and understanding the avenue and moves. After more than 10 minutes, the blessing ended. Xuanhuan, Minjiao and others felt that they wanted to understand a little more about the future path, and the haze on the road gradually dissipated for a while. Damn, I still feel that I am about to break through eternity. Zhang Changkan said excitedly. Really, Lao Zhang, me too. Me too. Me too. After a while, the voice appeared again. Okay, all the geniuses, the long steps to the gods just now were just the simplest test. The next test is the real test of death. I hope you are ready. After a while, rays of light fell, and then the geniuses felt that they were pulled by an external force, and then came to an unfamiliar space. This space seemed to be built by countless void fragments. There was only time and space, and nothing else. Just when the geniuses were confused, the ancient voice echoed in the minds of each genius. Let me briefly explain the rules. In fact, it is very old-fashioned and there is nothing new, but this is how you can truly test your strength. You will face the phantoms of all the great emperors who have ever been born in the heavens and the worlds. And their realm is one realm higher than yours. Not only that, they will only suppress their own realm, not anything else. What you have to do is to kill them. Remember to kill them, not defeat them. There are 3 rounds in total, each one is more terrifying than the last. Only the geniuses who successfully pass and survive can be promoted to the next round. And the rewards are also very simple. As long as the geniuses pass, they will be rewarded with a forbidden avenue suitable for you, and a golden flower of 100,000 years of avenue. The top 50 geniuses will be determined by speed. Each of them will also get the throne of their own world, and an immortal emperor technique. Of course, obtaining the throne only means that you are qualified to become an emperor, not that you are 100% sure to become an emperor. After all, it is not easy to become an emperor. Okay, that's the general situation. If you want to give up, you can give up now. At that time, you can watch the battle outside. Remember that the probability of death is more than 70%. You should think carefully. 10 seconds to decide. 10. 9. At this moment, a group of Tianjiao fell into hesitation. After all, the probability of death is too terrifying. What's more, this time they are fighting against a random emperor phantom who can only suppress the realm. If they directly encounter King Di in the first round, they will be finished. Admit that these experiences are very tempting, but life is more important. Soon, many Tianjiao gave up. Of course, there are also many Tianjiao who have some confidence in themselves. With the idea of giving it a try, they will try to turn a bicycle into a motorcycle. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Start, Invincible, met the Empress's apprentice. Author, Benpao de la Chang. Chapter 563. Soon, outside the small world, the figures of the geniuses slowly appeared. At this moment, although there was frustration on their faces, they were more grateful that they could walk out of the road of 10,000 worlds alive. It seems that this time, the road of 10,000 worlds has come to an end. One of the geniuses said with a smile that although they would be reluctant, they had already gained enough. They also knew that their talents in their own world might be considered outstanding, but if they were placed on the stage of the heavens and the worlds, it would be tasteless and useless. Yes, our journey has come to an end. But we are lucky to have come this far, to witness the ownership of the great emperor's crown with our own eyes, and to finally come out alive. Isn't this the best ending? I am very curious, who can win the great emperor's crown? It's nothing more than choosing from Xuanhuan, Luoyuan, these quasi-emperor geniuses. No, now we have to add one more. You mean, the one in Shui from the immortal realm? Yes, it's her. After all, the move she performed on the long steps to the gods was too terrifying. But, she is only the eternal god king after all, and those geniuses are quasi-emperors. This is a qualitative change, which cannot be compensated by talent or something, and she is too young. I think she will definitely be promoted to quasi-emperor before winning the great emperor's crown. Just as the geniuses were discussing fiercely, pieces of light curtains appeared on the sky, showing the situation in each space. We can actually watch, great. Before, others were the audience, now it's our turn. However, most of the Tianjiao's attention was focused on Luoyuan and the others. While they were discussing, the battle happened quietly. At this moment, in Luoyuan's space. Your name is Luoyuan. A shadow of a great emperor said slowly. This great emperor was called Emperor Haoshan, and he was an immortal emperor when he was alive. That's right, Senior Haoshan, Luoyuan nodded and said. Do you know me? Emperor Haoshan said with a smile. Emperor Haoshan, the Forerunner, was born at the end of Taishu, from the land of life, and once killed a supreme being in the mythical realm. How could the younger generation not know it? Luoyuan said with a smile. As the guardian race of the heavens and the worlds, they knew all the situations of all the great emperors derived from the moment the heavens and the worlds were born. Ha ha ha, I didn't expect to meet the daughter of the Holy Angel clan. It's really rare. However, since you are the guardian race, it's not surprising that you know me. By the way, don't you Holy Angel clan never participate in the Road of 10,000 Worlds? Emperor Haoshan asked doubtfully. Senior, you don't know that the great emperor's crown appeared in the Road of 10,000 Worlds this time. Luo Yuan said slowly. The great emperor's crown. Are you sure? Emperor Haoshan suddenly opened his eyes wide, and his tone became slightly intense. Of course, I don't need to lie to you about this matter. Alas, I really didn't expect that the great emperor's crown appeared in the Road of 10,000 Worlds in this era. You know, it didn't appear in our era. But at this point, Emperor Haoshan changed the subject. Even if this emperor's crown is very tempting, it is not so rare for you. You should have other things, right? As expected of Emperor Haoshan. As the senior said, this emperor's crown is only one of the conditions. The most important thing is to investigate the intruder. Luo Yuan looked at his expression and said slowly. Intruder? What do you mean? It's like this, senior. The ancestor of our Holy Angel clan found that there was a breath that did not belong to the heavens and the worlds in front of the Road of 10,000 Worlds. I don't know how it passed through the barrier and came here. Is the ancestor of your clan the 12-winged heavenly Punisher? Emperor Haoshan asked slowly, his face changing constantly. Yes, senior. I didn't expect that he was still alive. I thought he had died in that war. Senior, you are joking. Okay, let's get back to the topic just now. Even if it is an aura that does not belong to the heavens and the myriad worlds, isn't it normal for it to enter? Senior, if there are only 1 or 2 strands, it would not be strange, but there are tens of thousands of strands, and there are several masters among them. Luo Yuan said with an ugly face. What did you say? The tone of Emperor Haoshan suddenly became extremely fierce. Do you know who it is? The source of this cannot be determined. Impossible, don't forget, the one of your holy angels, but got it, could it be, that the other party also got it? Hao Tiandi said in disbelief. Yes, senior, Luo Yuan said with a sigh. However, senior, you don't need to worry too much. We, the holy angels, can definitely stop it. Of course I won't worry too much, but my confidence does not come from you. Hao Tiandi said slowly. Who is that? You know. Emperor Haoshan showed a mysterious smile, as if everything was self-evident. You mean, that one? That's right, it's the Emperor in white. You know, the world is very important to you, how could you let those intruders destroy it? No matter what the conspiracy is, it is useless in front of you. When Li Bai was mentioned, Emperor Haoshan's eyes were filled with light, as if he was the most devout believer. Senior, your relationship with that person. Oh, your ancestors didn't tell you that I was once a follower of that lord. In fact, I am a follower. He is just a chess piece. But even so, I am honored to be a follower. Become a pawn in the hands of adults. Senior, do you know something? Can you? Before Luo Yuan could finish his words, he was interrupted by Emperor Haoshan. Don't think about this. If you really want to say it, we still have a hostile relationship. You angels and those supervisors are creatures on the same path, and sir, you also know. If you really want to know, you might as well ask your heavenly executioner to ask. Emperor Haoshan said slowly. Senior, why don't ancestors want to ask? It's just. I know, don't you dare, Emperor Haoshan said with a smile. Luo Yuan did not deny this, but nodded affirmatively. So, this is also one of your goals, right? Come to the Road of all realms, look for your former followers, and try to learn something from us. Emperor Haoshan suddenly realized, no wonder Luo Yuan would talk to him so much. Senior, I'm sorry, I had no choice. It doesn't have to be like this, I'm not angry. After all, I have fallen for countless epochs. Besides, the reason why you do this is to protect the world. However, I still say that, I can't say, I'm sorry. Okay, Senior, it's the junior who's interrupting me. Without further ado, let me see the strength of the successor of the Holy Angel clan. Start, Invincible, met the Empress's apprentice. Author, Ben Pao de la Chang. Chapter 564. Boom. Emperor Haoshan then suppressed his realm to the realm of the Great Emperor. The pressure of the Great Emperor was like a wave of destruction, constantly rushing towards Luo Yuan. However, after all, it was just a phantom, and its combat power was less than 1,000th of the main body, so Luo Yuan's face did not change. Excuse me, Senior. Luo Yuan also released his breath directly after he finished speaking. Boom. In an instant, endless brilliance filled this mysterious space, and Luo Yuan was also wrapped in endless brilliance. Then, feathers transformed from light kept falling, falling in thousands, like cherry blossoms falling all over the sky. Then, the light on Luo Yuan's body slowly disappeared. At this moment, Luo Yuan was full of sacred brilliance, like an angel who saved you from the world from sinking. At this moment, Luo Yuan was covered with white feather clothes, spotless. Behind him, 3 pairs of white wings slowly opened, which was the symbol of the Holy Angel clan. It is divided into 2 wings, 4 wings, 6 wings, 8 wings, 10 wings, and 12 wings. 12 wings is the final form, which is the realm reached by the heavenly Punisher. The number of wings also explains the strength and talent of the angels. Luo Yuan evolved to a 6-winged angel in the Quasi-Emperor realm, which can be said to be unique in the entire Holy Angel clan. Generally speaking, only the mythical emperor can evolve 6 wings, and Luo Yuan is only a Quasi-Emperor now, which shows how terrifying her talent is. She can even compete with Luo Tian before. Wow, so beautiful, so beautiful. White wings, really live up to the life of an angel. This is the Holy Angel clan, worthy of being the guardian race of the heavens and the worlds. The Tianjiao watching from the outside were all amazed. After all, the number of angels is too rare. Of course, this is why everyone is like a dragon. Yes, at such a young age, the Quasi-Emperor realm actually evolved a 6-winged angel, which shows how terrifying your talent is. Emperor Haoshan exclaimed. Senior, thank you for your compliment. My talent is nothing to you. Okay, just tell others about this. I know you well. Go ahead. You are my senior. Please. Okay, in that case, I won't be polite. Boom. Afterwards, the 2 sides were caught in a world-shaking war. In just a few seconds, the 2 sides fought for hundreds of rounds. It's Luo Yuan, so strong that she can fight on equal terms with the Quasi-Emperor Phantom. Why do I have a feeling that this Luo Yuan seems to be playing? Yes, but not playing, but testing. Not only that, this Haoshan Emperor is also testing. In other words, neither side is serious. Yes. At this moment, in the space, Haoshan Emperor slowly said. Okay, let's not test. Just one move to decide the winner. Okay, Senior. Holy judgment, all evil will be destroyed, Luo Yuan roared, and then the angel holy sword in his hand suddenly burst into bursts of light. Then, Luo Yuan waved the holy sword and slashed it out. This sword seemed to be able to destroy all the sins in the heavens and the worlds, and no evil could escape. Not only that, there were also wisps of breath that turned into chains and rushed towards Haoshan Emperor. Haoshan Truth Fist, seeing this, Emperor Haoshan's eyes also flashed with a trace of seriousness. Then, he gathered all his strength and punched out. The dazzling light swept the entire space. The terrifying fist shattered the void and shook the chaos. This punch was stunning and shocked the world. After a long time, the battle storm slowly disappeared, and then the figures of the two slowly appeared on the light curtain. Who won? I don't know. Looking at the two of them, they seem to be injured, but it's hard to say specifically. Xuanhuan won. Look, the phantom of the emperor is gradually dissipating. Suddenly, a Tianjiao shouted. In the space, Emperor Haoshan lowered his head and looked at the hole in his chest, and couldn't help but smile. You won. It's worthy of being a creature that can evolve into a six-winged angel at this age. I can't compare. If I guess correctly, you should have been on the list of eternal Tianjiao, right? Emperor Haoshan asked slowly. Hearing this, Luoyuan nodded without comment and said. Senior, you are right, I have indeed been on the eternal prodigy list, ranked 95th. 95th, you can actually be among the top 100, I have to say that your talent is one of the most amazing prodigies in our country. Emperor Haoshan said slowly. One of them. I wonder who else you know. I guess you should have heard of King Di and Chongtong, yes, they are also followers of the adults. Okay, I know you still have questions to ask me, while I am still here. Emperor Haoshan looked at Luoyuan and said slowly. Senior, I want to ask you something. Say it. Do you know about the eternal night of dusk and the dawn? Luoyuan asked slowly. Dusk and eternal night, dawn, and morning twilight. After hearing this, Emperor Haoshan slowly fell into deep thought. After a long time, Emperor Haoshan suddenly said. How do you know? Have you seen both of them? No, but there was a genius who performed them at the same time. At the same time? Impossible, dusk and eternal night and dawn and morning twilight are enemies, it is impossible for them to be from the same person. Senior, can you tell me about this person? Luoyuan asked impatiently. They are both innate creatures, and their nature is the same as the primordial light. One of them was born in the dusk and the other was born in the dawn. Although they are both creatures of the chaos era, to be precise, they should be creatures of the primordial era. After all, the moment they were conceived was also the moment the primordial era was born. Are you sure that you saw one person perform these two moves at the same time? After explaining, Emperor Haoshan asked slowly. Senior, I saw it with my own eyes. Haha, it's really strange. Such a strange thing actually happened. In my impression, these two people would fight as soon as they met. Okay, my shadow is about to dissipate. The remaining doubts may be answered by other emperors. Thank you for your doubts. After speaking, Emperor Haoshan's figure slowly disappeared in this space. Start, Invincible, met the Empress's apprentice. Author, Benpao de la Chang. Chapter 565. Along with Luoyuan's victory, many Tianjiao in the space have also won. Except for a few Tianjiao who are very relaxed, most Tianjiao are more strenuous. Not only that, there are also a few Tianjiao who have completely put an end to their lives. They will be buried forever in the road of 10,000 worlds. At this moment, in Shuiyi's space, when she saw the second emperor again, Xuanhuan seemed extremely excited, because this emperor was the Chaos Emperor who was killed by the Chaos Emperor. Senior, we finally meet again. Xuanhuan said slowly. Ha ha ha, it's you, little Xuanhuan. I didn't expect that we could meet again. After seeing Xuanhuan's appearance and receiving some memories, the Emperor Luangu was also very excited. For an emperor like this, the remaining phantom basically retains all the memories before each phantom falls. Xuanhuan, I'm very glad that you can get to this point. This means that you have successfully escaped from there. The Emperor Luangu said with a smile. By the way, Xuanhuan, can you tell me what happened after my phantom fell? Of course. Then, Xuanhuan described in detail the series of events that happened afterwards. Hearing Xuanhuan's story, Emperor Luangu frowned at first, and then his brows slowly relaxed, as if he did not blame Emperor Tongming. Senior, don't you hate Emperor Tongming? Sui asked doubtfully. You know, Emperor Tongming wiped out Emperor Luengu's phantom with his own hands. In a sense, it was equivalent to betrayal, or a fight. Resentment. Actually, to be honest, it's not really resentment. After all, I know Tongming's character too well. I understand why he can do such a thing. I thought that with his death, this obsession would gradually dissipate, but the result is just the opposite. Not only did it not dissipate, but it became stronger and stronger. From the beginning when I met him, he showed ambitions that did not match it, but, becoming a follower of darkness is not a good way. It is easy to be bitten back by the tiger. Besides, I didn't expect that he would have the courage to trade with the adults. Shui, you know, he is the first person in the ages. Speaking of it, he has set a precedent. The Emperor Luengu shook his head and said, Senior, is this ambition really so important? You know, you and him are close friends who are almost as close as life and death, Shui asked puzzledly. Shui, you think too simply. There are many cases of betrayal by siblings, not to mention life and death. Moreover, in that era of cannibalism, if you don't eat others, you will be eaten by others. If it were you, would you make the same choice? Emperor Luengu explained patiently. But the old times are always in the past, and should not be involved in the new era. Whether it is the old times or the new era, the same rules apply. This is not the mortal world, there is no fireworks, this is a world where strength is always respected. For example, if you are allowed to return to the mortal world now and become an ordinary mortal, can you give up everything you have now? Emperor Luengu asked slowly. I can't give it up, Shui shook her head and said after the faces of Li Bai, Nan Yi, and Xianyu and Minjiao appeared in her mind. That's right, you can't let it go, and the ancient Emperor Tongming can't let it go either, so that's why he did this. Shui, you have to remember that the only person you can trust in this world is yourself, including adults. Master, is he no exception? Shui's eyes flickered with doubt. That's right, adults are no exception. Of course it doesn't mean that you don't trust adults, but relatively more often, you should rely on yourself, not adults, otherwise, you will never grow up. Perhaps, you are the top genius in the world, and your life safety is guaranteed because of adults, but when you grow to a certain extent, you will find that there are many geniuses like you in certain areas outside the world. Although there are some exaggerations, it is true. For example, the geniuses in the origin race are no less than you, but there is only one you in the world, while their origin race has countless you. What's more, our world is just a middle-lower origin world. You can't imagine how terrifying those upper or top origin worlds are. For example, the Rune world. The ancient emperor said slowly. Rune world, is it the same world as ours? Yes, they are both origin worlds, but the results are very different. I remember hearing adults mention that there is a genius in the Rune world who became an emperor at the age of 1, almost as if he was born as a great emperor. Then, in less than 100 years, he walked a path that we can never walk. Don't you think it's scary? Hearing this, Shui's eyes kept trembling, and then nodded. And geniuses like this are not rare in that world. So, Sui, don't let this kind of betrayal affect you, because, in the eyes of the other party, your doubts are just stupid. Do you know? The Emperor Luangu said slowly. Senior, I know. Sui lowered her head and said slowly. That's good. In fact, the reason why Emperor Luangu said this is because he can see that Sui relies too much on Li Bai, which is not a good thing. Okay, in this case, let me see your strength. Also let me see how terrible the second disciple of the master is. The Emperor Luangu said with a smile. Senior, I'm sorry. Boom. Soon, the two of them started fighting without any nonsense. The eternal decision of rebellion. The way of the loser. Disaster purgatory. At this moment, the Tianjiao outside couldn't help but smack their lips and exclaimed after seeing these scenes. Who is that emperor? I always feel that he looks familiar. I seem to have seen him somewhere. Yes, especially his aura. Unfortunately, I can't hear their conversation. I know, that's the Emperor Luangwu, a genius suddenly shouted in surprise in the crowd. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Start, Invincible, met the Empress's apprentice. Author, Ben Pao de la Chang. Chapter 566. The Emperor of Chaos. The Emperor who failed all the time in the first half of his life, and finally, the Emperor who killed the heavenly Deo. Nonsense, who else in the world has such a legendary emperor? I didn't expect that such an emperor would appear. This is the emperor on the Eternal Emperor list. Do you think there will be another emperor on the Eternal Emperor list? I think so. At this moment, another Tianjiao shouted in horror. Oh my god, look at that emperor on the screen over there. That's not, no, the Eternal Green Emperor. Suddenly, almost all the Tianjiao's eyes, as if they received guidance, looked at the screen at the same time. After a long time, a roar that shook the earth broke out. It's really the Eternal Green Emperor. Ah, I finally saw the face of the Green Emperor, damn, so beautiful, oh, no, so handsome, but, that's not right either. Don't say it, the Eternal Green Emperor has no gender distinction. After all, the Green Emperor's body is the Chaos Green Lotus. Sure enough, another emperor on the Eternal Emperor list has appeared. I'm really looking forward to it more and more. Green Emperor, this is the Green Emperor. It's not an exaggeration to say that he is the most widely circulated emperor in the entire heavens and worlds. There is another one, the Invincible Double Pupil. No, although the reputation of the Invincible Double Pupil is also well known, it is still inferior to the Green Emperor. After all, the Double Pupil Emperor was born a little later, and the Green Emperor was born with the Chaos era. There was no one among the geniuses present who didn't know the deeds of the Green Emperor, and the Chaos Green Lotus secret art was one of the innate Chaos secret arts, so they would naturally be extremely excited. No, look, how come the phantom of the Green Emperor, how come it gradually disappears? What's going on, what's going on? Damn it, don't be like this, I haven't seen the Green Emperor fight yet. At this moment, in Zio's space, after feeling the same breath as herself and seeing that familiar face again, she was extremely excited. Green Emperor. You're not. However, the next moment, Zio began to panic, only to see the phantom of the Green Emperor in front of her gradually dissipate. It didn't take long for the phantom of the Green Emperor to completely disappear, just like a dream. Seeing this situation, Zio's tears unconsciously slipped down. It seemed that it could be touched in the blink of an eye, but at the moment of touching, it suddenly dissipated like a bubble. At this moment, Zio also knew that the Green Emperor did not lie, he really had completely disappeared in the long river of time. Why is it like this? Father, don't you want to see me again? I still have a lot to say to you. Zio said in a daze as she sat on the ground. At this moment, an ancient and magnificent voice sounded in Zio's mind. My dear friend, I'm sorry. The second test will be to summon a great emperor you have met or had contact with based on your aura. I didn't expect that the shadow of the Green Emperor would actually disappear. It was our mistake. Hearing this, Zio said slowly. Senior, don't blame you, it's just that my obsession is too deep. I want to see my father too much. I know, you are the green lotus of creation, right? Yes, senior. I didn't expect that the green lotus of creation, which has disappeared for who knows how long, would appear in this era. My dear friend Zio, don't feel sad. If I'm not mistaken, the Green Emperor should have met you before, right? Yes, senior, it was at the Wanchi Academy in the Fairyland. At that time, my father said that this was his last shadow. Since then, my father has really fallen. Zio murmured in a low voice. Don't worry, King Di won't disappear. Zio, who heard this, immediately perked up and asked. Senior, what do you mean? Hey, do you know how King Di fell? I've heard a little bit, but not in detail. King Di followed Li Bai, and King Di fell because of Li Bai. I remember that Li Bai was in a dilemma at that time, and King Di, the queen of the other shore, the emperor of double pupils, and other well-known emperors, for Li Bai, regardless of their own bodies, wanted to explore. Later, Li Bai finally got rid of that dilemma, but these emperors were buried in that place forever. What's more, Li Bai once said that he had replied King Di and the others are alive, so you don't have to worry, and all you need to do is wait for that day to come, I believe, but it won't be too long. After hearing this, Zio finally calmed down, and then asked respectfully. Senior, where is the burial place you mentioned? After hearing this, the living being immediately fell into hesitation, and then whispered. Sorry, I can't say this place, it's not good for you now. If you really want to know, you will know it when you are qualified. After hearing this, Zio also knew that it was definitely an extremely scary place, so fortunately he didn't continue to ask. Senior, I know. I will grow up to that day as soon as possible. At the same time, in Shuiyi's space, when Shuiyi performed dusk breaking again, the ancient emperor knew that he had lost. Even with his quasi-emperor status, he could not beat the eternal god King Shuiyi. Ha ha ha, it is worthy of the primordial innate secret technique. Xiao Shuiyi, you win. The ancient emperor said with a smile. Thank you for your help, senior. Shuiyi also knew that the ancient emperor was just a phantom at the moment. If it was the real body, she would not have any chance of winning with the eternal god king, unless she broke through the half-step quasi-emperor, or went further in some aspects. Xiao Shuiyi, you think too highly of me. Your talent is much stronger than mine. By the way, Xiao Shuiyi, do you want to learn my moves? The ancient emperor suddenly asked, changing the subject. Senior, what do you mean? Shuiyi asked in astonishment. I'm dead, but all the things I don't want will perish with me. And I may never meet a junior like you again. So, senior, you want to give me your inheritance? Shuiyi asked slowly. That's right. If you don't mind. Of course, senior, Shuiyi said hurriedly. Of course, that's the inheritance of the great Emperor Luengu. Even Shuiyi can't refuse it. Start, Invincible, met the Empress's apprentice. Author, Ben Pao de la Chang. Chapter 567. Chapter 565, Adults Can Solve Anything. 2-1. Hearing Shuiyi's impatient tone, Emperor Luengu said with a smile. Xiao Sui, I thought you would dislike my inheritance. Senior, how could it be? You are the Emperor of Antiquity, the legendary Emperor. I don't know how many people want to inherit your inheritance. How can I despise it? On the contrary, I also want to thank you for not despising a successor like me. Shuiyi said with a soft smile, with an unprecedented emotion on his face. Xiao Sui, how come you have learned this trick? Okay, in that case, just don't dislike me. I know there are several inheritances in your body that are much more powerful than mine. I hope you can use my inheritance more in the future, at least let him not bury it. Emperor Luengu said solemnly. Don't worry, senior, I understand. Um. After finishing speaking, Emperor Luengu waved his hand, and in an instant, wisps of invisible power flowed directly into Xueyi's mind. Xueyi, close your eyes and sit cross-legged, use your most relaxed state to accept these powers. Emperor Luengu whispered. Okay, senior, I understand. At this moment, pictures are flashing in Xueyi's mind. They are all scenes of defeat before Emperor Luengu. They extend from his youth to the emperor. Every picture is so painful. Xueyi can clearly feel Luengu's defeat. The inner emotions of the ancient emperor every time he failed. From being angry, doubtful, and confused, to gradually becoming desperate and numb, and then gradually becoming determined, it seems that I have changed my heart and set a new goal for myself. Gradually, Xueyi felt that he was like the Luongshu emperor in the picture. Later, Xueyi experienced all the experiences and mental journeys completely, until in the end, the boat had passed the 10,000 mountains. Xueyi, if you want to inherit my inheritance, this step is necessary. After all, you are very special. It is impossible for you to experience these failures in person. My inheritance is different from those of the invincible emperors. You must go through every journey in person and taste the heart at every stage. Only then can you truly understand the chaos of ancient times. The meaning of these four. Hope you do not mind. Emperor Luengu's eyes seemed unfocused and he said slowly. Of course, Xueyi did not hear these words because she was currently immersed in the experiences of Emperor Luengu. At this moment, the outside world has already become extremely boiling. What are Xueyi and Emperor Luengu doing? And the battle just now, who won and who lost? The girl named Xueyi should have won, otherwise, she will now. Wait a minute, don't you think that this snow-clad girl is gradually becoming like Emperor Luengu? Yes, I didn't feel it just now, but there was indeed a trace of Emperor Luengu's aura. Damn it, Emperor Luengu won't give his inheritance to this snow-clothed girl again. What the hell? This shouldn't be possible. After just one battle, Emperor Luengu handed over his inheritance. Let's keep looking. At this moment, in Xueyi's space, Xueyi's body only exuded a kind of despair of failure, and his face became extremely gloomy, and he seemed to be struggling. When Emperor Luengu saw this scene, not only was he not worried, but he smiled. Only in this way could he show that Xueyi really felt the despair spreading in defeat. Then, Xueyi's face turned extremely pale, and drops of cold sweat kept falling on his forehead. However, the next moment, Xueyi's brows gradually relaxed, and the despair and unwillingness shown on his face gradually disappeared. Boom! The next moment, a breath of chaos that seemed to overthrow everything began to spread like a wave. After a long time, Xueyi slowly opened his eyes. Not bad, much faster than I expected. As my disciple, your talent is unquestionable, but the most important thing is that you have a heart that matches your talent. If an ordinary genius were to personally experience all the failures I had in the first half of my life, they might not be able to survive for long before inner demons would be born. Even if there are geniuses who can withstand all these failures, when the first victory comes, you will not be able to control your own heart, thus giving birth to evil thoughts. Emperor Luengu said slowly with doting on his descendants in his eyes. Senior, this is so praiseworthy. Only after experiencing this personally can we understand the despair of constant failure and no hope at all. Even some talented people may not be able to resist this. Senior, I really admire you. In this situation of falling into the endless abyss, you did not surrender, but, you opened up a new path. If it were me, I would never be able to do it. Xueyi bowed to Emperor Luengu with great respect, which was a belated respect for him as a junior. Ha ha ha, we don't have to brag about each other in business. You and I have taken different paths, and you and your senior sister are also different. Therefore, you don't have to belittle yourself. The path of every living being is worthy of respect, even those mortals in the world of fireworks. Shui must remember this. Senior, tell me. Shui said seriously. You are your own worst enemy, and you are also the person who can best help you. After saying that, the shadow of Luengu Emperor slowly disappeared in this space. Perhaps in countless epochs to come, the shadow of Luengu Emperor would not appear again. People could only see a trace of Luengu Emperor from Shui. Shadow. At this moment, on another road of the road to all realms, two masters are facing off, and their bodies are constantly emitting wisps of aura that threatens all heavens and all realms. I really didn't expect that the ruler of the final realm would actually come to take us to all the heavens and realms. What a rare guest, a rare guest. The ruler of all heavens and worlds looked at the ruler of the final realm and asked with a smile. No emotion or inner thoughts could be seen through his face. What, you're not curious about why I came here? Before you say this, shouldn't you introduce yourself? 3-1. That's all. Otherwise, I still have to report all my resume to you. Stop talking about this. How did you get here? Don't tell me, you came here to play. It's very simple. Don't you want revenge? Sanyi said with a smile, as if he had seen through this ruler of all heavens and worlds. What do you mean? I know your identity, hero. To be precise, you are a failed master, right? You, how did you know? The hero's eyes kept trembling, and his slightly pale lips betrayed his heart at the moment. You don't need to know how I know. I just want to know if you want revenge. Don't forget that your hidden race sounds nice and is one of the overlords of the world, but in fact it is just a group of failures. They are just being exiled here. So, do you want revenge? Sanyi looked at the hero and said with a smile. After a long time, the hero suddenly laughed softly and said. Whose revenge are you talking about, Worth? Who do you think it could be? The hero showed a mysterious smile. The initiator of the Origin War, that adult. Who else could it be besides Li Bai? Ha 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 ha. Are you sure you didn't say anything wrong? Do you really know who he is? The hero looked at Trinity as if he were a fool. It was obvious that he didn't understand why such words could come out of the other party's mouth. Of course I know who he is. What's more, do you think I will come to you without any confidence? I want to know who the person behind you is. After thinking for a while, the hero said slowly that it would be a lie to say that he did not want revenge on Li Bai. After all, because of Li Bai, their race became a failed race and completely cut off the hope of becoming the origin race. Because of Li Bai, he is constantly wandering in the world, and even unable to advance further, he always remains the master of the origin war. Innate originator, is it enough? Sanyi said slowly. The innate originator, does it depend on you? Of course it's not me, it's the acquired originator of our final realm. To tell you the truth, we have set up a formation on the road to all realms. If we don't enter, the formation eyes have been set up. If this formation is activated, the entire world will be completely destroyed. Sanyi said slowly without any concealment. Hearing these words, a look of horror immediately appeared on the hero's face, and his eyes when looking at Trinity became extremely horrified. How is it possible, with you alone? The hero asked slowly. Of course it's impossible for me alone. There are many creatures in our terminal world. Otherwise, I wouldn't be able to arrange such a terrifying formation on my own. Not only that, the most important part was not arranged by me myself. It's equivalent to me just laying out a framework. Sanyi said slowly. After hearing these words, the hero stopped Benbu even more, pursed his pale lips and said. You, what do you mean? Are you not the only one who invaded? Not just one, but many. Impossible. If you were the only one to invade here, it would be okay, but if there were many of you, it would be impossible for you to escape those supervision, but could it be that you? Xiong the Lord thought of an answer that was horrifying to think about. Faced with all this, San Yiming did not give a clear answer, but just smiled. If that's the case, why do you still come to me? Why don't you just detonate the formation and destroy all the worlds? It's not that simple. Li Bai will not let the world he has worked so hard to nurture be destroyed. So, what do you want me to do? The hero said slowly. Come with me to kill Li Bai's followers and his 2 disciples. After hearing this, the hero couldn't bear it anymore and said with a smile. You have made your purpose clear. I know that of all the creatures in the end world, you are the only one left, right? The rest have all been destroyed by adults or those who follow you. And, you also know that this plan has completely failed, because, Your Excellency has already gone to look for those origin creatures, but let me guess where you should be hiding. Ancient Emperor Tongming at that time just watch in secret. But fortunately, I finally managed to lure you out. Okay, my mission is completed, you can rest assured. The hero looked at the space around him and said with a smile. The next moment, the figures of Xiao Leng, Xiao Yao and others slowly appeared in this space. Yes, I guessed correctly. There was obviously a wave of fluctuations in the Chaos Underworld Tower at that time, but I couldn't trace it back. Now it seems that everything is as we guessed, and there is a big fish that slipped through the net. Xiao Leng looked at Sanyi and said slowly. The mantis stalks the cicada and the oriole follows behind. Unexpectedly, I am the mantis. This is really ironic. Sanyi said slowly without any change in his expression, or it could be said that he had already thought about his ending. After all, from the moment he entered the world, he never thought about being able to get out alive. To put it bluntly, they were just chess pieces. Now that the task of setting up the formation has been completed, their lives are dispensable. You are not a mantis, a cicada, or an oriole, you are just a fool. Are you stupid? I don't think so. Maybe you are the ones who are stupid. Okay, let's stop here. I also know that your appearance represents my ending. It's a disaster, but a disaster. Why should I fall into your hands like this? Right. In the blink of an eye, with a mysterious smile, Sanyi's body was slowly broken into countless pieces. In full view of everyone, Sanyi completely fell into the sky and all the worlds. Sister, we should be able to get more things from him, why don't we stop it? The little demon asked doubtfully. Although we have something given by the master, that Li Yao, which can kill a master, but, a master who wants to fall himself is definitely not something we can stop now. What's more, he actually said it all. Have you already said it? Why don't I know what he said? The little demon asked doubtfully. Their stupidity can also be us. Do you think he said that on purpose? Xiaoao said slowly with a glimmer of light in his eyes. Otherwise, wouldn't this be just the stubbornness before death? No, believe me, it's definitely not that simple. It may be more complicated than I thought, Xiao Leng said firmly. Forget it, sister, these have nothing to do with us. Even if we really know, we can't get involved. We are just little masters. Xiaoao said nonchalantly. In his opinion, Li Bai could solve everything, and the facts proved that her guess was right. Start, Invincible, met the Empress's apprentice. Author, Ben Pao de la Chang. Chapter 568. At this moment, at the junction of Fate Heaven and Disaster Land, Xiantian Fate was chattering to Xuanhuan, with anger on her pretty face. Xuanhuan, tell me, is Li Bai crazy? Now is not the right time at all. Can't he wait a little longer? He has waited for such a long time anyway, does he still care about this little time? I am really convinced. Xiantian Fate was like being betrayed by Li Bai, and her tone was full of resentment towards Li Bai. Why are you in a hurry? It's not you who will go. Xuanhuan said casually. What do you mean it's not me who will go? Can you have a little conscience when you speak? I have helped Li Bai so much. Even if he doesn't consider himself, he should consider me. He is going to kill those old immortals so suddenly, and my plan is all messed up. Xian Fate was almost pointing at Li Bai's nose and scolding him. If it succeeds, isn't it good for you and the adults? Success? He couldn't kill those old immortals before, so what can he rely on this time? All his plans against those creatures have not come to fruition now, what can he rely on to wipe them out? It's really, I'm so angry. Xian Minjiayuan's chest kept rising and falling, and the waves were surging, which was very scary. And Xuanhuan picked his ears helplessly and said impatiently. Okay, how many times have you said it in front of us? If you are not annoyed, I am annoyed. I ask you, when have you seen adults make irrational and impulsive decisions? Well, it seems that he has not. Every step he takes is carefully considered and has been deduced countless times. Xian Mingyuan gradually calmed down after hearing Xuanhuan's words, and said after thinking for a while. That's it, the reason why adults want to wipe them out this time must be a reason that must be done, and there is a great chance of winning. I really don't know what you are worried about. Xuanhuan spread his hands and said helplessly. I'm just worried. After all, hunting down the innate originators has never happened since the birth of Taishu until now. Besides, the origin war was started by Li Bai, and he knows the final result. He can't be unaware of the horror of those innate originators. I really can't think of any way for Li Bai to hunt them. Besides, those invaders from the End Realm set up formations on the road of 10,000 worlds, which is obviously to lure Li Bai over. Innate Destiny curled her lips and said, in the final analysis, she was just concerned about Li Bai's safety. Specifically, it should be a deal between the two. I know you too well, to be honest, I don't know what you are going to do. Unless. When he said this, a ray of light flashed in the eyes of the origin. Unless what? Tell me now. Unless, the Lord has found some solution from those memory fragments. Hearing this, Xian Destiny seemed to have just thought of this matter, and was stunned for a moment. Then, he raised his head and slowly looked at Xuanhuan, tapping his finger on his lips and said. By the way, how could I forget this? Maybe in those memory fragments of Li Bai, there is the answer he wants. I say, you care about the Lord so much, don't you like the Lord? Xuanhuan's mouth corner pulled a little arc, and the smile seemed a little obscene. You, what nonsense are you talking about? I am the noble Xian Destiny, how could I like Li Bai? This is absolutely impossible, don't talk nonsense. No, absolutely not, I absolutely don't like Li Bai. Xian Destiny turned his face away and shook his hands wildly. Oh, I just said it casually, why are you so excited? Could it be that I was right? Shut up, if you say it again, I will kill you, Xian Destiny threatened viciously. Okay, I won't say it anymore. Next, what are you going to do? Xuanhuan said slowly. What do you mean by what to do? Aren't you going to go and see or help the adults? He, what are you talking about, do you want to listen? Li Bai never told me about this from beginning to end, which means he doesn't want anyone to interfere. If I go over, what's the point? What's more, those old guys also know me, and there are unwritten rules between us, how can I go? Also, you don't think I can beat those old guys, right? Xian originators are also divided into strong and weak. Xian Destiny rolled her eyes and said, even if she could help Li Bai would not agree, she knew how proud Li Bai was. Okay, in that case, let's wait patiently. No, I have to do something I've been planning for a long time. Xian Fate said suddenly. You've been planning for a long time, Xuanhuan frowned when he heard this, and then a flash of lightning flashed through his mind, and he suddenly said, "You're going to that place?" Xuanhuan said in disbelief. "That's right. Since Li Bai has already taken action so far in advance, I can't just follow the routine. Some plans must be made in advance. Are you really sure you can get out of that place? I think it's better for you not to go there for now," Xuanhuan said with great concern. If it was somewhere else like the Taisha Forbidden Zone, or the disordered world related to Li Bai, Xuanhuan would definitely not stop him. But this time, the place where Xiantian Destiny was going was different. She was going to a wreckage before the birth of Taishu. No one knew what was inside that place. Even the 7 Xiantian origins didn't dare to step in easily. The reason was very simple. Among them, the 7 Xiantian origins buried the era at that time, thus giving birth to Taishu. But they had no way to bury that place, so they had to come back with the Taishu era. It was unimaginable how terrifying it would be to be in a place where even the 7 couldn't be buried. Even the epical wreckage like Xuanhuan didn't know. "You don't have to say it, I have to go, even if I die in the end, it doesn't matter, I just want to figure out one thing." "What is it?" "You know," Xiantian Destiny looked at Xuanhuan and said. The latter's pupils suddenly squinted, his face gradually turned pale, and he said in horror, "Are you crazy?" "Ah, you will answer me, are you crazy? That kind of thing, can you confirm it? Even adults don't have the qualifications now." "Xiantian Destiny, I don't allow you to go," Xuanhuan said in an extremely serious tone, his eyes filled with blazing fire. "You want to stop me?" Looking at Xuanhuan who was blocking him, Xiantian Destiny gradually lost his patience, and his eyes gradually became cold. "That's right, I'm going to stop you. Have you forgotten that you are now just a buried remnant of the era? You can survive until now because of me. What qualifications do you have to stop me? Get out of here, or don't blame me for being ruthless. Kill me, it's not just because of you, but also because of the adults. If you understand these things now, it will be a fatal blow to the adults' plans. If you want to go, you can, at least you have to wait until the adults find most of the memory fragments and know his true identity." Xuanhuan said firmly without any retreat. "Plan, plan, plan, your mind is full of Li Bai's plan, what about my plan, do you care? Have you ever cared about my plan from beginning to end, Xuanhuan?" Xiantian Minjiayuan's eyes flashed with incomprehensible emotions, questioning Xuanhuan desperately. I know, but, I'm sorry, I can't let the adult's plan be disrupted." Xuanhuan struggled for a while and said slowly. "Okay, let me ask you, if Li Bai and I are both in a desperate situation, and you can only save one person, who would you save?" Xiantian Mingyuan laughed instead of getting angry, staring at Xuanhuan's eyes, trying to get the answer she wanted from his eyes. "Why, do you ask such a question, you know it," Xuanhuan sighed. Hearing Xuanhuan's answer, Xiantian Mingyuan smiled, and sure enough, there was not even a trace of hesitation. To be honest, creatures like them should not have feelings, but during the time she spent with Xuanhuan, she seemed to like Xuanhuan a little. "Get out." After Xiantian Mingyuan finished speaking, he swung his palm directly, and in an instant, the unparalleled power directly made Xuanhuan's breath begin to willfully. Since he was the remains of the era, there would be no blood. Xuanhuan, however, endured the pain that seemed to tear his body apart, and tightly held the jade hand of Xiantian Destiny and said, "You can't go, unless you kill me. I absolutely can't watch you step into the endless abyss." Xuanhuan said hoarsely, and his eyes were filled with unprecedented light. In this way, Xiantian Destiny looked down at Xuanhuan, as if he wanted to see through his eyes and see through his heart. After a long time, Xiantian Destiny smiled, and his smile was as beautiful as a flower. At this moment, all the beauty in the world seemed to be inferior to Xiantian Destiny's smile. You are really stupid. It really makes me love and hate. Xiantian Destiny unconsciously stroked Xuanhuan's cheek, and then said distressedly. Does it hurt? I am the wreckage of the era, what do you think? Xuanhuan laughed back. Okay, I'll listen to you. I won't go now, but I will definitely go to that place. I hope you won't stop me. This sentence seemed to be the last bottom line of Xiantian Destiny. Okay, as long as you don't go now, I will never care about you at any time in the future. Xuanhuan said with a smile. Okay, you reflect here, I'm going to do something else. After saying this, Xiantian Destiny disappeared in the disaster land and fate heaven, leaving only Xuanhuan with a helpless look. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Start, Invincible, met the Empress's apprentice. Author, Ben Pao de la Chang. Chapter 569. The leader's Xiantian Origin's eyes were dark and unclear, staring at the end of the dusk. Logically speaking, they should be the same creature. Because of the special nature of the end of the dusk, they had to be careful. After all, the kingdom of dusk was buried by them. However, there is another reason, that is, Dusk End also betrayed the Dusk Kingdom, so this contradictory behavior made them extremely confused and troubled, and they did not understand what Dusk End was thinking. You can take me as whatever you want, and I can't stop your thoughts, can I? Dusk finally said with a smile. So, you came into contact with Li Bai and gave you a little help, which means you are going against us. The leader of the innate originator said slowly. Stop talking about this, do you know that Li Bai is here to kill you? Dusk finally said calmly. If it's just to tell us about this, you can leave. It seems that you know it, and that's right. After all, luring Li Bai here was your original purpose. So, what exactly do you want to say? I don't know if you remember, or have this memory, that in the Twilight Kingdom, there is a move that can kill the innate originator. Dusk finally said with a smile. Do you think we can't know? In fact, not only the Twilight Kingdom, but also places in previous eras such as the Great Nether Sky, the Primeval Sea, the Heavenly Palace, etc. have more or less moves that can bury the innate origins. But, I don't understand, you said this the reason for this incident. The leader of the Xiantai originator said slowly. It's very simple. Do you know about Li Bai's memory fragments? Of course, wait, you mean. The three innate origins immediately understood the meaning of the sentence and looked at the end of the dusk in great horror. That's right, Li Bai has obtained it and used it initially. Guess who it is used on, Huang's Hongyan said with a smile on his lips, looking at the three innate originators. Hearing these words, the three innate origins immediately fell into deep thought, and then a glimmer of light flashed in the eyes of the leader of the innate origins, and he said slowly. I see, I said, who can kill the supervisor we created? It turns out to be Li Bai. Congratulations, you guessed it right. So, do you think 8 Li Bai can kill you if they are used at the same time? 8 Li Bai? Which clones are you referring to? Haha, stop making trouble, you think I don't understand the special nature of this trick. It can only be performed by one person. Did you tell those clones that it was Li Bai? What's the meaning? It's very simple. Those 7 clones have become completely independent creatures. They have their own timeline, storyline, and destiny. Although they are not contaminated either. Dusk finally said with a smile. You fart. Li Bai, how could you give up 7 clones and let them be independent? Haha, don't we know Li Bai's selfishness? Those 7 clones are his most useful wives. Now tell me, Li Bai not only made them independent, but also created a unique timeline and storyline for them. Do you think we will believe it? The three innate origins said disdainfully that they knew Li Bai too well, and they had been fighting openly and secretly for countless epochs. You can also believe it. When you see it with your own eyes, you will know. By the way, Li Bai also taught that move to these 7 people, Xuanhuan said with a slightly naughty tone. That's enough, you can get out. No, 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 my mission is not finished yet. I am here to help you. Dusk finally shook his head and said. Hearing these words, the 3 innate origins were dumbfounded for a moment. Dusk ends various conversations with them, as well as their so-called attitudes, did not seem to come to help them. Do you want to listen to what you are saying? What does it mean to help us? Is it possible that you want to join us? Ha 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 ha, join you, you really dare to think about it? Do you think I will join you to deal with Li Bai? Xuanhuan finally mocked. Then what exactly do you mean? This is for you. After saying that, Dusk finally threw a ball of light to the other party. At the moment of contact, a very familiar breath was immediately introduced into their minds. It's Li Bai's breath inside. Yes, I can't feel it wrong. It's definitely Li Bai's breath inside, but it seems to be a little different. Then, the 3 innate origins turned their heads to look at the end of the dusk, with tell me, what on earth is this written all over their faces? Stop guessing, this is Li Bai, but it's not Li Bai. Really, listening to you is better than listening to you. There is no difference between what you said and what you didn't say. Of course there is, because what is sealed here is Li Bai's evil thoughts. Xuanhuan said with a smile. It was obvious that after hearing these words, the expressions of the 3 innate originators froze. Then, they asked with an unbelievable look. You mean, the seal inside is Li Bai's evil thoughts? How is this possible? Wasn't Li Bai's evil thoughts cleared long ago? Yes, if I remember correctly, didn't Li Bai's evil thoughts appear in the war between the outer domain and the fairyland, and then were wiped out? Listen carefully, this is Li Bai's real evil thoughts, do you understand? Why do you have Li Bai's evil thoughts? And why do you want to give it to us? Then, the leading Xiantian origin asked curiously. As for why I have it, you don't need to know, and the reason I gave it to you is because I had a deal with Li Bai's evil thoughts, and his condition was to meet Li Bai and have the opportunity to kill him. End of Dusk said slowly. I see, so you are using us to complete the deal between you and Li Bai's evil thoughts. You can think so do you want it now? You should also know how much Li Bai's real evil thoughts are and how much help they can bring to you, right? Why not? The leading Xiantian origin said firmly, as if he was afraid that the end of Dusk would regret it. In that case, happy cooperation. Then, the figure of the end of Dusk gradually began to dissipate. Start, Invincible, met the Empress's apprentice. Author, Ben Pao de la Chang. Chapter 570. That's really interesting. I really want to know who told you. Oh, it seems that you are not stupid. I don't have to hide it either. These things were told to us by the 7. The 7, the evil clone frowned unconsciously when he heard this. In his memory, it seems that there is no mention of the existence of the so-called 7. They are the culprits of everything. The culprit, you mean, buried before the beginning. Yes, it's them, and these things, including other secrets, were also told to us by the 7. Of course, we don't know why they told us such things. In other words, you were not born in the Taishu era, but you don't know anything about the things before the Taishu era. Am I right? The evil clone said slowly. You can understand it this way. Okay, the questioning is over here. If I'm right, Li Bai will find this place soon. At that time, you can ask him carefully. Of course, there may be a little setbacks along the way. It's my gift to Li Bai in advance. Okay. After that, the evil clone and the three ancestral origins slowly hid in this world. At this moment, in a space far away from the heavens and the worlds, Li Bai and others are passing through one void formation after another. Father, are the coordinates that Tongming Guti said really accurate? We don't know how many worlds and time-space tunnels we have passed through now, but it seems that we can never get close to that coordinate point. Li Yao frowned and said. Although she believed that Tongming Guti did not lie to them, they could not move forward any further. Don't worry, I have plenty of time to play with them. I guess now they know that we are on our way to find them. Do you think they will give me some gifts first? Li Bai said calmly, as if he didn't really take it to heart. Gift? Father, what do you mean? Those who once lingered. They are coming. Just as Li Bai finished speaking, in an instant, everyone could clearly feel that a breath that was not weaker than theirs was constantly approaching them. In less than a few seconds, 9 blurred shadows slowly appeared in front of Li Bai and others. As time passed, the mist covering their bodies slowly disappeared. 9 acquired origins, haha, they really think highly of us, and they actually prepared such a big gift. Li Tian said with a smile. I have to say, they are really courageous, and they are willing to give away 9 acquired origins. Suddenly, the 7 people kept whispering, and then kept looking at the 9 acquired origins in front of them. Li Bai, long time no see. I don't know if you still remember us. One of the acquired originators said with a smile. Of course, not only that, I remember every one of you. Donghuan Gai, the origin race Donghuan clan, from the origin place. Dai Wuxian, the origin race Daiwu clan, from the Tianhen land. Mingshenayun, the origin race Mingshen clan, the place where Laozi's gods fell. Xiaotian Mingfeng, the origin race, Xiaotian clan, from the origin place. Three-eyed 5 immortals, the origin race, the three-eyed immortal clan, from the immortal burial land. Dongfang Guzan, the origin race, the Dongfang clan, from the origin place. Luo Ying, the origin race, the Luo clan, from the ancient old heavenly palace. Ji Shenfu, the origin race, Ji clan, comes from the beginning of the era. Also, the most special existence, Taishu Shenyuan, a creature that evolved from the Shenyuan when Taishu was born, am I right? Every place here has the same nature as those origin realms, but it is much more terrifying than some origin realms. They are all formed after Taishu was born. At the beginning, they were just some barren lands, but later with the addition of the origin races, they became the death-forbidden land or holy land of some creatures. However, I didn't expect that your 8 origin races would form an alliance after experiencing the origin war. This is indeed something I didn't expect. When Li Bai's eyes swept over everyone, he could accurately call out everyone's name. I didn't expect that the famous Li Bai could still remember us little people. Taishu Shenyuan sneered. Little people. I never said that the acquired originator is a little person, or is this how you evaluate yourself in front of me? That's right, each of these 9 people is an acquired originator, 2 of them are female creatures, and 7 are male creatures. Of course, the Taishu Shenyuan is special. It has the same nature as the Qing Emperor and can be male or female. In this situation, even creatures like the ruler and the creator dare not think about how terrifying it would be if 9 acquired originators gathered together. Of course, only in front of you will I call myself a little person. After all, you are Li Bai, the Li Bai who launched the origin war and created endless legends with his bare hands. Dongfang Guzan seemed to be praising Li Bai constantly, but in fact, his eyes were full of resentment. Yes, we little people should thank Lord Bai for sparing our lives back then, Donghuan Gai said with a smile. Lord Bai, thank you so much. Since the Battle of Origin, I miss you all the time, just to see your style again. Luo Ying said in an extremely charming tone. Enough, slut, don't forget, we are enemies with Li Bai now, Ji Shenfu frowned and said, feeling extremely disgusted when she saw Luo Ying's coquettish posture. Although we are enemies, it doesn't prevent me from admiring you. What do you think, Fufu? Luo Ying pinched Ji Shenfu's face and said frivolously. Humph, you're just horny. Oh, I remember who said that. I really want to see you again. Of course, I don't know whose eyes were almost watering. Besides, don't pretend. Now that we've seen you, there shouldn't be anything for us to do. Let's face it. I feel like my eyes are almost tainted by facing these ugly guys every day. Luo Ying said with a smile. Yeah. When Ji Shenfu heard the first half of Luo Ying's words, a blush appeared on her face unconsciously. After hearing the last part, she hesitated for a while and nodded. What do you mean? Dongfang Gai. I felt that things were getting a little subtle, and looked at the two women and asked slowly. He, guess it? After that, Luo Ying and Ji Shenfu flashed in front of Li Bai and said very respectfully. Sir, our mission is completed, isn't it great? Luo Ying said with a smile, while Ji Shenfu looked very shy. It's really difficult for you, Li Bai said with a smile.